you see a really highly, energized guy. Cody Glass, on the other hand, I don't see him having the eye test or the data right now.
Wow.
Looking at watching him on the ice, I think he has lost his confidence.
Okay.
Now I know the injuries, but I think he's lost his confidence. I think when he gets the puck, he has less time to do with it than what he wants to, and he is slow to make decisions. I think and that's probably because he's not getting the puck very often. He's down on his ice time. His ice time is a little bit less, 5-on-5 ice time.
Right.
He's not getting the power play time he was last year. He had a lot of power play time last year, especially late in the season, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I also looked at this. Any idea who Cody Glass's most common line mate was last year? Any guesses?
No. Not off the top of my head.
Matt Duchene.
Oh.
He played almost 300 minutes with Matt Duchene last year. His most common line mate this year is that's not right. It is Juuso Parssinen.
Okay.
And Jakub Trenin.
Okay.
And Philip Tomasino. Those are the top three. So Parson's going through his own development struggles, right? And
sure.
Jakub Trenin, I think, is actually a good example of a guy who kind of has found it. And this is what I wanted to say about Glass is I think of Glass as kind of he's at a crossroads, I think, in terms of his development. Now, he's only 24, but I think he's kind of got to decide what kind of player he wants to be. Not that he doesn't have a lot of options, but he does need to kind of figure out, okay, do I want to try to really upgrade my offensive skills and become that puck possession player like a Tommy Novak or even like my Kyle Granlund type, like a really skilled passer that has great vision,
right?
Which he could do, or do I want to go the Colton Sissons route and just be the most tough-nosed, physical center on the dot, in the middle, penalty kill, beat you to pucks, Cole Smith type, McCarron type, like that kind of guy?
Yeah.
Because I do think he has to pick.
I think you're right. You can't. I don't know that he can be both.
I don't think he can be both. I think he's not quite that level of. He's not a Patrice Bergeron level,
Yeah.
He's not a Mark Scheifele who he idolized growing up. Like he's a great talent. I just think he's at the point where he needs to pick kind of like what he wants to be. And I'm a big Cody Glass fan.
Right.
Love the guy.
Yeah.
Love talking to him. He's one of my favorite guys to talk in that locker room.
Yeah.
I just think he's struggling right now, and he needs to find it. I think and I really hope he does. I hope he figures out kind of what kind of player he's going to be, and is able to overcome that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I agree, and I'll address the Cody Glass situation first. I think the biggest thing with Glass, I went back and I looked at, and if you recall, 21-22 regular season AHL, Cody Glass had the most points for the Admirals up in Milwaukee with 62 points. He did that with a shooting percentage of 8.5, which I thought was interesting because
was it a lot of volume? He's shooting a lot.
Yeah, a lot of shots.
Yeah,
and then when I look over at what he's done this season as well as last season, he's just not shooting as much.
Yeah, shots are down.
But even last season, 72 games, 131 shots. I mean, shooting percentage of 10.5 maybe. I
think that's about right. 10.5. I think he's probably 10% shooter
right now. And again, a small sample size. 4.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Look at this. He has 23 shots on the year. He's only 14 games. Luke Shin has 13.
Yeah, that should tell you something.
In 13 games.
Yeah,
So he needs more shots, but that goes back to the issue. Like he's not getting the puck enough. I think he's probably being used. I mean, he's like we just said, his line mates are Parssinen and Trenin. He's getting a lot of defensive draws, and he kind of last year kind of became a guy that was more of a I'm going to play against the top forwards and try to shut him down. Remember that Connor McDavid game, the Oilers. He did a great job in that game.
Great job.
But I wonder if the pressure to become a more offensive forward. He's got 2 points now in the season, right? He got a goal and assist, and just barely got that goal last night.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the pressure to become an offensive playmaker type
Yeah.
being that two-way guy is just too much for him right now, especially overcoming the injuries he's
Coming
had to
back
overcome.
from an injury, and I don't want to just skip over Tomasino either.
Yeah, you had some stuff on Tomasino.
I got a little. I mean, we can squeeze it in. It's just if you look back, I like looking back at what happened in Milwaukee. I think it's interesting. Tomasino back in 22-23, 38 games, 32 points, shooting percentage 13.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well. If you look in Nashville, this season in particular, shooting percentage of 5.25. It's much lower, but on 38 shots. However, it's interesting. He does get a lot of high danger chances, a lot of expected goals. But that's the thing. When he says he was trying, he tried. I think that's what he means is he's creating. It's just not he's not finishing. And I think that's the major concern.
I wonder if Bruno's he tried is maybe a knock on other guys.
It could be. He's saying, well, hey, he tried.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah. I right now I'm not as much worried about Tomasino. I know his scratch situation. He's been scratched a few times. I wonder if that kind of thing is coming up for Glass too, but they don't want to scratch him because he needs the ice time because he's
coming back from that injury.
And he needs to get that shoulder right. He needs to get his legs right. I mean, it's just the guy needs a lot of time, and that's the big challenge of the NHL.
And both of these guys are playing under a new coach and a new system.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a change too. The style that was being played last year, totally different than what's happening this year.
Yeah.
So maybe there's just some growing pains, especially as they're younger guys.
There's another thing I wanted to mention about Tomasino that we can talk about, and then we'll also talk about the defense. I think the defense is just in such a weird place right now.
It is.
And a couple things that I think need to happen in order to recover, in order to normalize it, I guess, in a way. So we'll talk about that when we come back.
Yeah. As we look ahead to the next Predator Showdown, it's the perfect time to plan your future in Nashville. Salas Realty Group is ready to assist, ensuring your real estate goals are met with the determination of a playoff chase. Visit salasrealtygroup.com and let's start mapping out your game plan. Salas Realty Group, where every closing is a championship victory.
Nashville, join the Nashville Spartans, the hockey sensation of the city. Experience thrilling games, family-friendly fun, and unity. Visit NashvilleSpartansHockey.com/tickets, and also right now you can get 50% off your ticket by using the promo code PBR50. So go to a game down there at the Gary Forts Acura Arena, Ice
Gary
Arena,
Force Acura Ice Arena.
down there in Nolensville. See the Nashville Spartans. Use PBR50. Get 50% off your ticket. Don't miss the excitement. Be a part of Spartans hockey today. All right, so just to wrap up this conversation about Tomasino and Glass, is there anything else that's kind of affecting, you think, Tomasino's ability to get going like on the scoreboard?
I think the production aspect comes down to one other really big thing, and that's when I look back and I look at, say, Milwaukee numbers and what's happening in Milwaukee. You have to understand that both of those players are getting a lot more power play time in Milwaukee than they're getting in Nashville, especially Tomasino. He's playing on the power play, but he's not on the first unit. He's on the second unit, and as this first power play unit I think is fairly loaded, that's not a unit, that second unit, one that they want to bring out unless they absolutely have to. So I think he's seeing his power play minutes take a hit when it comes to compared to Milwaukee. So I think that's probably one of the reasons he's not up there as much.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about Cody Glass is, he had a lot of things he was wanting to improve from last year, and one was his faceoffs. I think he's improved him a little bit, but I think he's had to work so hard at doing that it's taking away from the rest, everything else he has to do. I mean, the center is the hardest position to play in terms of skaters.
Yeah,
you have to do so much. You have to defend and attack in the middle of the ice. You got to take face-offs. You have to take on the biggest players on the other team. I mean, it's tough.
The defensive responsibilities of a center are fairly large.
Yeah, they're really important, and you have to make quick decisions. It's hard. So he's got a tough task, and so I do hope that he's able to figure it out. And Tomasino, like I said, I'm not as worried about him. But let's switch to the defense because, I've said a couple times here that I think the defense is in a strange situation. Here's the situation: you got one player who is basically on the way out. He's like walking out the door. I mean, just Tyson Barrie. Whenever that trade happens, which it can't happen right now because there's a roster freeze, but whenever that happens, it needs to happen.
Right.
Tyson Barrie doesn't want to be here anymore. Right.
Unfortunately.
So there's that. You've got Luke Shin.
Yep.
Who is not playing well.
Well, I mean, he tried.
Just like Tomasino.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
he does.
He's trying out there.
He certainly does try, but I just think Luke Shin right now is not he's not a top 4 guy. He's a if you protect him and he's in the bottom role and has a role that's pretty limited, I think I can see it, but only if you pair him with another guy who I think should be playing more, and that's Dante Fabro.
Right, and I, here's the thing, and you see this kind of circle of scratching going on, and I don't mean like a cool thing where everybody's scratching each other's backs, Alex.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is one guy is I would say sitting the bench, but I mean they're not sitting the bench. They're not even on the ice.
Yeah.
There's one guy that's not playing every night unless they decide to go 7D, which they haven't done in a while. And it seems like it's switching between Dante Fabro, Tyson Barrie, Alex Carrier, but Shin has been out there. He's been playing, and I looked at the numbers, and we've talked a lot over the time we've spent together covering this hockey team. I'm not a numbers guy, right? I'm a big believer, a firm believer in the eye test.
You hate numbers.
I can't. I don't even know what they look like most of the time. Who needs math? What's it good for? But here's the thing. I looked at the numbers, and once somebody explained what they were, here's what I found out, and this is surprising to me. Mm-hmm. I think you're gonna be shocked. It seems like most of the guys are playing about how they normally play, over the course of their careers. But there's one stat that really stood out to me here, and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's giveaways and takeaways.
Yep.
Because when I think about a defender, when I think about defenders a lot, my son's a defender. I got to think about this all the time. Giveaways are a big deal. When you've got the puck. Chances are, it could be you're either down by your own goal defending, or you're right there at the blue line in the offensive zone, and you're the other guys are taking it, and they're going to get a breakaway.
And those are bad ones.
And you don't want that.
No.
So, I looked. Okay, so for example, Tyson Barrie, 7 giveaways this season, right? 7 giveaways, 2 takeaways.
Okay.
Not terrible. Alex Carrier, 8 giveaways, 4 takeaways.
Okay.
Not terrible. Dante Fabro, 24 giveaways,
Okay.
5 takeaways.
Okay.
That's a big difference between the other fellas.
Sure. I mean, I would be interested to see what they look like minutes-wise. I mean, Tyson Berry's not playing the same minutes, average time per minutes. Like, ice time is a big part of that,
Well, sure.
right? And then situation. I mean, Dante Fabro plays a lot on the power play. Those guys don't. I'm sorry, penalty kill.
Right.
Penalty kill. Fabro plays a lot on the penalty kill. Those guys don't. I'm just saying, like, you're right. But here's I teased that what changes we need to see.
Right.
We know the Tyson Berry trade needs to happen. That needs to happen as soon as they can possibly make it happen, because
Right.
it's just causing this weird situation to be worse.
Oh, it's weird.
Here's the six defensemen that need to play on this team, and this is the order and the ice time that they need to play.
Okay. Let's hear
Roman
it.
Yossi needs to be number 1.
Always.
Ryan McDonough needs to be number 2, and I'm okay with those flip flopping, but those two need to play a lot. I think third is Fabro, and that's because just based on what I've seen, his numbers wise, or just eye test alone, it tells me that he's playing really well. I understand the takeaways, giveaways stuff,
It was just something I noticed.
but you can make this. People made the same argument about PK Subban when he was here. A lot of giveaways, but the on the other side of the ice, he was doing a lot of stuff that was good. After that, Carrier, and then after that is Spencer Stastny.
Okay.
The guy who's not in Nashville right now.
He's in Milwaukee right now.
I think he needs to be up in Nashville.
Okay.
In Nashville, and then after that is Luke Shin. Luke Shin needs to be the 6th most ice time on this team in terms of defense.
Okay.
They're not going to bench him. They're paying him a lot of money to play.
They are. You're right.
So you're going to have to just work with that. But he does not need to be. He needs to be the 6th option, and then every now and then sit a night.
Let me say something here,
All right.
because it wasn't just those numbers I looked at, and that's what's
Okay.
interesting. It's numbers that have nothing to do with what they're doing on the ice at all.
Okay.
I also went to look over at Cap Friendly
Yeah.
to take a look at their contracts. There are currently 3 defenders on the Preds roster who have contracts that expire at the end of the season. Do you know who they are?
Say that again. 3
There are
defensemen.
3 defenders, yes,
Yeah.
whose contracts expire at the end of the season.
Dante Fabro, Alex Carrier, I know, and then the other would be
It's Tyson Berry.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 that seem to be in that
Yeah.
scratching circle,
I
which
know.
I don't know if that's the name for it. That seems kind of weird.
Scratching circle.
I'll stop using that. I'm getting a weird image in my mind. But still, you got to think. These are guys that they have to make a decision on. Is this someone you want to keep around, especially Fabro, who's a restricted free agent? Because as a restricted free agent, I feel like he's a little more interesting to other teams if you were going to make a trade.
I think it would be a mistake of those 3 to keep only Alex Carrier. Either keep I mean, if I'm picking between those 3, one to sign at least for the next year or 2,
Right.
it's Fabro.
Right.
I just think he's a better development path. He has a better ceiling. He's a better player right now, I think.
He's younger.
He's younger. I mean, Barry to me. I mean, obviously Barry's out. Like he's gone.
He doesn't want. It doesn't seem like he.
That's
wants
not going to
be
happen. But I would pick Fabro over Carrier for sure. And I think if you have a defense with Dante Fabro and Spencer Stastny, and then in the next following years you've got guys like Tanner Mollendijk and Ryan Ufko. I don't know these prospects that could come up. Mark Del Gaizo. These are guys that could make the defense better, and
Right.
I just think that they need to make that happen.
Well, it's interesting because I think when I look at the way, and this is not something I do all the time, but when I look at the way these contracts work out defense-wise, like it's very clear Roman Josi is going to be here forever. He can't leave.
No.
He has a no movement contract
Yeah.
clause. He can't move. He can't leave. He's stuck here, even if he doesn't want to be here. He's here, or maybe that's not how.
Same thing with McDonough.
Same thing with McDonough. Even though you're like, well, his contract's not as long, it's just 2 years shorter than Yossi's. And then Luke Shin and Jeremy Lauzon are both here at the same amount of time that McDonough is as well. The other guys, they could be gone after this year. You could create a lot of room on this team for younger talent coming up by trading, not re-signing. And it also depends on what you get back in a trade. I know that I've heard there's not a lot of trade partners who have the room to take on a contract like that.
Yeah.
To where Trotz has said he may have to, bring somebody back, and he's willing to do that if it's the right piece or the right person. So,
Yeah.
It's really
But
interesting to me.
I think the real takeaway here is that the defense is in a weird place because they've got this Tyson Berry situation, and then you have matchups like Tyson Berry and Luke Shen do not need to be on the ice together. That does not need to be a pairing.
No.
That pairing makes no sense. You need to have Luke Shen paired with a good, solid, young defenseman who can unleash their potential. Someone like a Fabro or a Carrier, I'd be fine with that. Stastny would be the better option. Just let them grow in that role, and then Yossi McDonough, and then you pair the other two together. So I just think there's a lot going on with the defense that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think that once they get the Tyson Berry situation sorted out, it will fall into place.
Yeah,
but
let me just say,
it's a couple weeks away,
Alex. The Stastny thing, that you mentioned that's really intriguing to me because you take someone with the skating skill of Stastny, pair him with someone like Shen.
Yeah.
Sheltered minutes, I guess you could say, but he's going to have to take on a much more, he's going to have to be a lot more offensively responsible, I think, as well.
Stastny
will.
Sure,
that's exactly what you want him, someone who can skate like he can. That's what you want them doing. You want them improving. Not just as a defender who's just going to stay back or is sitting on the penalty kill, but somebody who's going to have a lot of offensive responsibility as well. He's built for that.
Yeah, I think Stastny and Shen would make sense together, especially because Stastny could maybe even get some power play time if the situation arises.
I don't see why not.
You never know. And then you got Yossi McDonough, and then you got Fabro and Lauzon. I keep forgetting about Lauzon. That's the guy. I knew I was forgetting someone earlier, but Lauzon is the guy that needs to be in there to play that third bottom pairing with either Carrier or Fabro in the meantime. So, the defense is in a weird place, but I think that's what's going on right now. I think we need to be waiting for that Berry shoe to drop. So that will happen soon enough. After we come back, we're going to preview the next week or so, and then we'll do the 3-on-3 draft. As everyone knows, we finish off with the show with that. But look, if you're trying to buy a home, it can be a really stressful experience. It's a huge decision, and there's so many things to consider and analyze, but with experienced real estate professionals at Salas Realty Group, you can find your dream home in the most vibrant, dynamic city in the world, Nashville. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, investor, or selling your property, Salas Realty team guides you every step of the way. They have intimate knowledge of Nashville's neighborhoods, schools, and market trends. They will match you with the perfect home to suit your lifestyle and needs. If you want to get started, go to salasrealtygroup.com and experience real estate the Salas way. Sorry, I kind of stole your And welcome back to Penalty Box Radio Live, presented by Salas Realty Group and the Nashville Spartans. We got a couple texts to read. You want to read those, Sean?
Read it up.
All right. First of all, we have a text from Billy from Bellevue. Is this the end of the heater? Tough spot tomorrow night. We're on the road against the Flyers, then Dallas. Could be 2 losses, and then the Hurricanes come to town. So that actually is a great segue into preview the next little bit, because they do play the Philadelphia Flyers tomorrow night, and then Dallas on Saturday,
That's
and
true.
then next Wednesday, the Hurricanes. Is this the end of the heater? That's a good question.
I don't think so. I mean, and I think people are having a really negative reaction to one loss, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Billy from Bellevue, he's just asking. He's just asking.
It's a good question,
It's
Alex.
a question you got to ask. I do not think it's the end of the heater, but you weren't gonna win. Have an 80% win percentage or point percentage the rest of the season. Just wasn't
No.
gonna happen. So you're gonna lose. What I think is probably gonna happen. I think they're gonna go through a little bit of a win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2 kind of thing.
It's okay.
Just get back to normal, kind of on the where they were. Where we kind of expected them to be.
It's okay.
So I guess, Billy, yes, it probably is the end of the heater, but I don't think that means that they're going to plummet or anything. We also have a texter that says, is the knuckle puck a legal shot? And if so, should more teams try it? To my knowledge, it is a legal shot.
Yeah, I mean, good luck having the time to get it set up, right? And
Yeah.
plus, you try something cute like that. Huh.
You get
People-
tripped to the ice like
yeah,
Tommy Novak.
yeah. Goodness gracious.
Wow. Speaking of the next Wednesday show against Carolina, that means that we will not have a show next Wednesday.
That's true.
So no show next Wednesday. Our next show will be January 3rd the new year, 2024. January
Wow.
3rd, 2024. That'll be
Wow.
our next show. Now just to wrap up a couple thoughts about the Preds. This is kind of goes into what we were just talking about. People did, I think, overstate how big of a loss the Vancouver loss was.
Yeah,
I think part of it is
yeah.
like Vancouver keeps beating the Preds.
Yeah, and it was a sucky game. Let's just be
It was
real.
sucky.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that. So I think but those games do happen. It was a strange game. There's some crazy bounces too. So don't get too worried about that.
Yeah.
I think let's see how they go against Philadelphia, because they have a decent goalie right now. They have decent defense. They've been playing well. They got it's good players. But the Preds did beat them last time they played, so they can do it. I think they can do it again. And then Dallas coming into town. Matt Ducheney's return.
Oh.
Old Mac Ducheney's back in town.
Duchene.
So we'll see Duchene here in Nashville Saturday, and then the little winter break, no games, and then Wednesday against Carolina. But speaking of winter and holidays, Sean, we've got a 3-on-3 draft to
Oh.
do. Let's get it started.
I'm excited.
So this is the part of the show where we draft something. Today, we are drafting holiday traditions.
Okay.
Now, this is a very open-ended draft. I left it that way intentionally. I do not care if they're real traditions, if there's something you do, if something else does, if they're something that someone else does or whatever, or if it's like just something that's generic and something that everyone would know. We're drafting holiday traditions.
Okay, holiday traditions.
And did I go first last week?
I can't remember. I think I went first last week.
Okay, so it's my turn to go first. So I'm
Go ahead.
I'm going to go first.
Go ahead.
My number 1 draft pick in the holiday traditions is we go downstairs together. Okay, so let me explain that. Every Christmas morning, you've got the presents downstairs underneath in the tree, and
Right.
Santa comes overnight, right?
Yes.
Well, you don't get to just like sneak down yourself and see what's under there and then come back upstairs.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Everyone in my house all gathers at the top of the stairs. This was when I was younger, growing up. This is what we do now with my daughter, and we go downstairs together, and we all go to the tree
That's
together.
nice.
So we don't just like one person runs down, oh, what did I get? And then, we go downstairs together. That's what I call it.
I like that one. That's good. Let me tell you my first one. First, let me just say this. I gotta shout out, wish a very happy birthday to my 14-year-old daughter. Just had her birthday on Monday. But at the same time, there's another tradition that takes place around the same time. 20 years ago today, Alex, 20 years ago today, my now wife and I went on our first date And one of the things we did was we
And
went.
she regrets it ever since.
Well, that's hurtful. Those are your words, not hers. We went while we were on our date. We went and walked around the Opryland Hotel, just walking around, holding hands, talking,
Yeah.
having a good time. And now every year around Christmas, it just depends on when we could do it. It's not always the day of.
Yeah.
We will go back with our kids and walk around Opryland Hotel.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. That's
that's a
cool.
fun one.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a and it's a fun place to walk around too.
If
It's
you
cool.
have a ticket, didn't
Yeah.
used to need one.
Right. All right. So my second pick in the holiday traditions draft is the Christmas Eve movie watch.
I like that.
Okay, the Christmas Eve movie watch. Now it doesn't matter what movie, any movie is fine. Some people watch, The Grinch, or It's a Wonderful Life. That's a big one.
Yeah.
You want to know what we watch in my house?
Sure.
The Sound of Music.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
It's a great film. Very long, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
So we've watched that every Christmas Eve for as long as I can remember.
That's a nice. I like that.
So my second pick is the Christmas Eve movie watch. All right.
Do you do a sing along with that? Does everybody sing?
Oh yeah,
That's a good time.
Best music.
Okay, so my next tradition, and this is a fun one, is that every Christmas after the kids are done unwrapping everything,
Mm-hmm.
we take a picture of the aftermath of just boxes
okay.
and wrapping paper and just the chaos that has ensued over the course of the morning. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
a good
I mean,
time.
is it like the room? Like you take a picture of the room, or you don't just like?
The kids are buried in
Okay.
wrapping paper.
Okay.
It's insanity.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Okay, my third pick, and we won't have time to do some honorable mentions. My third pick is the awkward gift exchange. Or, sorry, the awkward gift card exchange with your cousins, where it's like, hey, I got you a $25 gift card. Oh, I got you a $25 gift card. Okay, now we're done. That's it. Or even siblings. I've done with my brother. Where it's
Wow.
like, I got you this gift card. Oh,
That's
you got me
not-
the same gift card. Wow, thanks, appreciate it.
That's kind of sad, actually. I feel like maybe I should. Like, this is a great opportunity for you to get to know your family better.
It's a
Alex.
tradition.
Yeah.
The awkward gift card exchange. I guess it could be with anyone. The awkward gift card exchange is always like, it's just part of it. You got,
Oh, yeah.
You have to buy something for them. You don't know what to buy.
It happens.
It's just here's a $25 gift card to Applebee's.
Be honest, it was just easier when everybody smoked. You could just buy a pack of cigarettes or a carton.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, Alex. Last one. I want to clarify. It's an aerial shot of the aftermath.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it.
I have been corrected.
What do you get the drone out?
no,
fly it around?
we've got 8-foot ceilings. I
You
just
have a helicopter?
just hold it up high, do a 0.5. All right, last one. So every year we put out a nativity scene, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I think a lot of people do.
Sure.
However, we do it with a little twist because Jesus wasn't born until Christmas, right? So
Okay.
you have this nativity scene out that's just historically inaccurate because Jesus is there on like the
Oh,
5th.
I see.
So we play this game called Where's Jesus? And
Oh,
what
okay.
we do is we take the Christ child and we hide him somewhere. Now, it's not like impossible to find Jesus because, well, yes, he's in your heart. He's also hidden somewhere in the house, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you've got to find him. And when you find him, you have to shout out as loud as possible, I found Jesus! And then it falls to you to hide Jesus. Now, of course,
I got it.
this game goes on until the Christ child must be returned to his no crib for a bed in time for Christmas Day.
That is an interesting tradition. I guess I hadn't thought about the fact that. Well, we won't go into it, but the Jesus not being born until Christmas and being there I hadn't really thought about that.
It's all about the anticipation, Alex.
Okay, so my three picks are: we go downstairs together, Christmas Eve movie watch, awkward gift exchange with your cousins, and yours were.
Of course, we started with the anniversary of our first date trip
Yep.
to Opryland,
Yep.
the aerial aftermath photograph, and of course, Where's Jesus?
Okay, all right. So who wins, Connor?
This might be the hardest draft I think I've ever had to pick a winner.
Oh
for.
wow, okay.
It's pretty evenly matched. But it is the season of giving, and I have been a little hard on Sean lately. So Sean wins.
Don't do it just because you've been hard on me recently.
Hey, take the win. Take
Do you
the
want
win.
the win or not?
Yeah,
I do
take
want
the
the win, but I want to deserve the win.
You deserve the win.
Okay.
You're number one.
I
in my
do
heart.
like your
Thank
second
you.
one. The tradition about taking the picture, that's great.
That's
I do
fun.
like that. I might add that to ours.
That's a good time.
Can I add I have an honorable mention.
You got a minute.
The tradition of obsessively checking your credit card balance.
That's not just reserved for Christmas. That's a daily.
That was today.
That's a daily. That was today. That's a Tuesday.
Every morning when I wake up, Face ID. It recognizes me crying.
But Christmas or the holiday season really tends to bring it out because it's there's so many purchases that go through. That thing gets used
it's
like
rough.
crazy.
It's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. All right. All right. Congratulations on your win, Sean.
Hopefully it wasn't just a pity win.
Consider it my gift to you.
There
This
you
season.
go. Today is the last.
Can't even enjoy it.
That is the last Penalty Box Radio Live show of the 2023 calendar year. We will be back on January 3rd to start a new season, not a new season, but a new year of Penalty Box Radio Live, talking about the Nashville Predators and all kinds of other stuff too. We really appreciate you listening. Of course, we're brought to you by Nashville Spartans and the Salas Realty Group. See everyone next year, Sean.
See ya.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you listening.